Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I cut and sew this jumpsuit that has smoked waist area. It's cut together, everything is cut together. There is no joining at the waist, but there is joining in between the two pieces. That's the back and front, right? And I used 3 yards of fabric for this. So at the back there is a zipper, as you can see, right? So this is how free it is. I used 3 yards of fabric. So 3 yards of fabric is what I made use of, like I said earlier. And I'll be using elastic thread. You can get they come in different colors, so it depends on your color of your fabric. But I had this back at home, so that's what I'm going to be using. Then bias, please get bias the color of your fabric. I didn't have black, so I'm using my brown. Then get a matching thread with your fabric. Then you need your chalk, your ruler, your scissors, your measuring tape, and of course your sewing machine. Hi guys, my name is Fatima Ace, and on this platform I share sewing tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe, and if this is something you like to learn, let's get straight into business. So I have my 3 yards of fabric. It's folded the way I normally fold, right? Give it 2 folds, you have 4 layers, right? Then I'll just go ahead, I'll draw a border line. You do this when your fabrics do not align at the upper part, so that you can have a very equal measurement. So that's why you draw a straight line. That will be your border line or your shoulder line, right? So now I'm just going to go ahead and impute the vertical lines. That's from your shoulder to your bust, from your shoulder to your waist, you understand. So I went from my shoulder to 10 inches, that's my bust. Then I went to 13 inches, that's my under bust. Yours might be more, you know. Then from 13 I went to my waistline, my half length line. I used 16. Later on I increased it to 17. So now this is 13, my under bust, right? Then I was deciding where to put the waist. So 16 is actually okay for most sizes. I feel like it's okay. Then from that my 16 I went down to 24. That's my hip line. Like I said, the vertical line. So you get to measure yourself vertically from your shoulder to all the points I mentioned. Then I extended all those lines, all those points horizontally like this, right? Then now next thing is to mark. I went ahead to measure the full length. You guys know I have a little bit of height, so this was okay. The only thing is that I'm not going to hem the down part. That's just it. And then the shoulder, I'm going to be using few inch, like 0.25 inch to stitch it, because so that I can get like my height, my length. So when you're doing yours, please include your allowances. And now on all those lines, right, I'm going to be imputing my crotch. I think it's supposed to be called crotch width, because it's just now I was thinking about it. This is supposed to be width. We are measuring it, the wideness. So I'm going to divide my hip by 10. It gave me 4.2. So I marked 4. So I marked it on the shoulder line, on the bust line, on the under bust, on the waist, and on the hip line. There's another line I'm going to be adding. That's our crotch depth. That's the line we'll be adding. So you see I marked those 4 right on the closed part of the fabric. And I'll use my ruler to just join those 4 points together. Please, in case you have your normal crotch width that you normally use, maybe use 3.5, just use it. You don't need to follow mine. It might actually be more for you or less for you, so just do your calculation and then use it. You understand? As you can see, I didn't use everything I got because I felt like it was going to be too much. 4.2 would be too much. Then now that my 42, I'll divide it by 4. It gave me 10.5. I normally use 42. I use 44 for my hip anytime, depends on what I'm making. So I use 42 in this case and divide by 4. It gave me 10.5. Approximately is also 11. So now from my waistline, that my half length line, see, right, I took it down. I did not even I did not consider the hip line, right? So I took it down to where my measurement is. That's 10.5. Then I just added 2 inches to it. Adding 2 inches to it to give me 12.5. Because it's a palazzo, it's meant to be free. So I'm supposed to use 12.5. I just approximated it to 13. But you can stick to adding your 2 inches. Some people normally use 1 inch, but I prefer using 2 inches because I love freeness down there. I don't want tightness. So that is the new line we are going to be using. So that's our crotch line. That's the crotch depth, right? So now on that line, I also marked that 4, our crotch width, right? So from your waist, that's where you're marking your crotch depth, because some people are confused. From your waistline, not your hip line. If you start from your hip line, that your crotch is going to go deep, and it's not going to be fine. So you're starting your crotch depth from your waistline or your half length line. That's where you're starting. Even when you're making normal pants, you only start from your waistline. You understand? So that's why I cross all those parts so that you know where you start from your waistline to your crotch depth. Then I form a curve in between the crotch width and the crotch depth. You see, I said we should call it width. So that's what I did, right? Then next thing is to mark our neckline out. You know, we have 4 inches. Anything I'm marking now, I'm not including that 4 inches. That 4 inches now is more of like the allowance you normally mark for your zipper allowance for your back piece. You know, when you're marking, you don't consider those ones. That's the zipper allowance. So that's how you take this part. So now anything you're marking, you're starting from the 4 inches line. So for my neckline, I use 3.5 by 3 inches round neckline for the back piece. Then for the front piece, I use V neckline. I use 60 normally, but you can decide to use round for both back and front, or use your VV. But I wanted the way that I can use round anytime and V anytime. So that's what I mark. So we have our round neckline and our V neckline in place, right? Good. Like I always say, you can actually mark your shoulder slope, but I don't like mark my shoulder slope. But you can't. For a client, I normally do, but for my own dresses, I don't really do. I don't know, because I feel like it's going to like alter the length of the top. I don't know. But anytime I have excess fabric that is longer than my height, I normally mark it. You understand? So now what we have left, excluding that 4 inches, that will be your sleeve length. That's your shoulder line. So in case you want to add, you should do your calculation. So that's what I had. So after excluding that one, I'll be having 22 inches, excluding that 4 inches. So that's my sleeve length. So that's the measurement I'll be having from my middle back to my desired sleeve length. So if you want it longer, you should do your calculation. So you might need to add. And I actually think you can actually cut this separately if you want, maybe the sleeve separately. If you want, you can do that. You can try it. If you try, please let me know in the comment section. But I didn't try that, and I'm not thinking of trying it anytime soon. Then now I'm going to go ahead and divide my hip by 4. You know it's 42, right? Divide by 4. It gave me 10.5. Then I'll be adding 5 inches to it. It gave me 15.5. So I can as well use 16. So I'll be marking that 15.5 inches on all my lines, from my bust, my under bust to my waistline. You're marking that measurement you have. Divide your whole hip by 4. Anything you get, add 5 inches to it, and then just mark it on all those your lines. I marked it on my bust line, on my under bust, then my waistline, right? 15.5, but I can as well just approximate it, but I didn't. So I'll just use a straight line to join those points together. Then you know you want your armpit to be a little bit curvy. I'll also make that a little bit curvy. After doing this, right, I made a mistake. I'll tell you people. It was when I was editing. It was while I was editing I found that, but it didn't actually like affect the jumpsuit on me. So I'll be extending down my crotch line, right? So the mark I have at my shoulder, that's the mark, that's the 22 inches plus that my 4 inches. I'm going to be marking it on the crotch line, because we are not cutting off the crotch and the 4 inches at the down part. It's only at the upper part. So I'll just take my tape from the end of the where the sleeve is. I'll just take my tape, I'll place it there, then I'll take it straight down so I can use that to trace it. But it should, in case you have a longer ruler, it's going to be perfect. You just take it, you see, right? From there I took it straight down. Now I said I made a mistake, right? What I'm supposed to do is from that my waistline, I'm supposed to take a slant line to meet the hip line. You see, it's supposed to be at the hip line, but I took it to the, what's it called, the crotch line. But it's still okay, it didn't affect it. I feel like it's even perfect, don't you think? What do you think? Waist to hip, you just take it to your hip line, please, when you're doing yours. I feel like it's going to be better than my waist, my crotch line. So I increased it to 17. That my half length line, I increased to 17, but I feel like 16 would be better for most of the sizes. Your half length, maybe 15, 16, you understand? Just measure on so you know what to do. So from that half length, I took a slant line to meet my crotch line. But if you're doing yours, I'll advise you take it to meet your hip line. But if you feel like the crotch line is also okay, who am I to stop you? Please just do it. Since there's a pocket, so the pocket actually didn't really let the curviness show. So I have a gown of this. I did something like this, but in a gown form. I'll drop the link for you guys in the description box in case you want to try out the gown. So that's what I did there, and I made that angle to be curvy, not pointed. So you can follow my method and you can as well just take it to your hip line, but I feel like using the hip line will be better. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. And guys, we are done drafting. Like I said, please, you can mark shoulder slope if you want. I'm not stopping. You can use 0.5, you can use 1 inch, your choice. Next thing is just go ahead and cut out my piece. So please watch carefully how I cut, because the last palazzo I posted, jumpsuit, people were still asking me. You just watch carefully. I cut the 4 inches part, right? I stopped at the crotch line, then my neckline, the round neckline first, then the shoulder. As you can see here, I did not touch it, I did not split it, I did not cut it, right? Because people were asking in the other jumpsuit video. So I didn't cut the down part. Now just cut the sides and we are done cutting. For the V neckline, you cut it when you've opened up your piece, because it's not, how will I put it, you have the two sides together, so you need to separate your back from your front. Then now that my underbust and my half length line, I'm going to notch it, those 2 points. I will notch it with my scissors, those 2 points, I notched it. Then I'm going to open up my piece. Watch how I cut. Not how I cut, sorry. Watch how I open. I took two pieces, then I just open it. That's what I did, and this is what it's giving. So you see, you have a U in between. Then now you can cut your V neckline on one of the sides. So basically you have your front one side, your back piece one side after opening it. So that's just it. So we have our V neckline. So I said you're not going to be having joining at the waist, you have a joining at the middle. So from my neckline, I'm going to mark 0.5 and I'm just going to take it like this in this dimension. Sorry, in this direction. Then there's one mistake I made. While doing this, right, you mark where you want your zipper to be. Your zipper is going to stop before your underbust. So you mark it so that you use a loose stitch when you are stitching it from that your round neckline to where to your underbust line. Use 0.5. You just mark it, just like you can use the marking to just mark, so that you know that from there you are using a loose stitch to meet the round neckline. But I didn't do that, so that's why I'm telling you to do that. So please do that so that when you want to fix your zip, it's very easy. So you know I notch the underbust and then my half length, right? I notch it for all the sides. Now I'm going to open each piece. You know this is my front piece, the V neckline. The other side is my what? My back piece, the round neckline. Good. Now I'm going to take my measuring tape from my underbust to my half length. I'm going to measure what I have, right? So this is it, and then I had 4.5 inch, which is good. So I'll just mark 0.5 inches from to get to that end. I'll mark it. So initially I used 1 then in between I was marking 0.5, and while sewing I used 0.25 inches. I did not use that half inches. I stitch on the line, then I stitch in between the lines. That's what I did. But if you have time to actually measure 0.25, please do. But I feel like it's going to take a lot of your time. So I'm just going to join it to meet the other end, a straight line. So this, a longer ruler will be better. I didn't have it, so I used my tape. I measured in between the two sides and I just joined it. But get a longer ruler to be better. You can even use 1 inch, then you just know that you have 4 inches, you have 4 stitches, you understand? So I did that for back and front, the line for what's back and front, as you can see. I'm going to bias my neckline separately, back and front. You know, we have V neckline, we have round neckline. I'm going to bias it separately. And I would advise you can as well fix your zipper before doing the stitches, the smoking. But it's okay if you can put your zip before you smoke, good. If you can't, no problem. I did mine after smoking. So now I'm going to go and stitch in the gown of this type that I made. That also I'm going to drop the link for you guys. I explained how to reel your elastic thread, so you watch it over there. So I'm just trying to stitch all through. So you see I used 0.25, not 0.5 inch that I marked. I was stitching in between the lines, on the lines and in between the lines. So that's what I did for both back and front piece. So for more detail about the smoking part, please watch the tutorial on the gown one that I made. The link is in the description box, right? So I'm done smoking and this is how it looks like. Isn't this lovely? It is. So I did that for back and front, yeah. And this is it. So this is, you bias your neckline, right? Then you smoothed the underbust part to the waistline. Then I'll just show you how to flip it through. So I've opened that part, right? So opening it is actually like, this is the right face of it, right? Good. And I forgot to tell you guys, the markings I did, that 0.25 that I did, I marked it on the right face. I marked on the right face because I wanted my thread to be on the right face and not the elastic thread. So I marked it on the right face of my fabric, not the wrong face. So if you watch this video carefully, you understand how I flip the back piece and the front piece to meet each other, right? If you don't, please go back a little bit, you see it. So now right face is facing right face. I'm just going to stitch the shoulder. Like I said, I didn't use much allowance because of the length of the jumpsuit, right? Good. After stitching the shoulder, the next thing I did was stitching the zipper to it. But it was at this point I remembered I didn't remove the zipper allowance like I told you. While you're stitching the U shape in between, you should use loose stitch for the place you want your zipper to be. But me, I did mine after, so I just had to lose it, and that actually affected the zipper. I fixed the zipper once, it was bulging. I didn't like it. So what I did was, after losing like this, right, I placed the right face of the zipper on the right face of each and I stitched, but I didn't like the result. It was bulging. So this was the first one I did. It was bulging. I even videoed the process, but I had to delete it. I didn't include it in this video. Then the next one I did was I used a loose stitch to stitch from my neckline to where my zipper will stop. Like I told you, when you're stitching down your U shape, use a loose stitch. Then I now stitch my zipper to it while it is still stitched on each part of it. That is what I did. So you see, here is closed because I used loose stitch. Then I stitch my zipper to it on each of the piece. So that's what I did. Then I'm just going to loosen that loose stitch that I used. So this method came out easy and it didn't bulge. So you can do that. You can see this is how it looks like. This is the final result of the zipper. And then I added a pocket to it, but I was not able to film it. In the link in my description box, the gown one, you are going to see how I cut this pocket, how I stitched it. So I hemmed the sleeve separately, and then, like I said, for the pockets, please go to the link in my description box. Then this particular one, the pocket was stitched at the half length line. That was where I stitched it, not like the way I did for the gown. Then I stitch in this direction, and then I use 0.5 inch for the stitching allowance for both sides. Unlike that, the gown one, when you watch it, you see that I used 1 inch, especially at the on the bust part. You get to understand when you watch. So guys, after sewing, this is the final result. This looks so lovely. I don't love jumpsuits, but you see this particular jumpsuit, I fell in love with it. Like, it looks so nice, so free. It wasn't tight. Nothing is tight, you know. Nothing is tight down there at the back. It wasn't tight. It was just so free, and I loved it. And one fun fact about this is that you can use the back as front as usual. So you can unzip it, you can zip it halfway, you can fully zip it. You understand? So it's based on what you want. Tell me this is not lovely. I know it is lovely. You can even use that as off shoulder when you unzip the front piece. Let me know if you found this video helpful. Let me know if this is an outfit. If this is an outfit you would love to try. I don't know why I'm happy about this particular outfit though. So please guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys in another tutorial. Bye.